They are all lying to you. And the reason why they say they don't like homeschooling isn't the real reason why they don't like homeschooling. And all you have to do is engage with them for just a few minutes to figure that out. So I have homeschooled for over a decade, and I have engaged with thousands of people online about homeschooling. And the loudest critics of homeschooling, especially in the online community, they are all rooted in the same thing. And one thing is very clear: they are all lying to you. All of them are lying to you, and you figure that out when you start engaging back with them and get to the real root of why they don't like homeschooling. And it's typically all for the same one big problem. I want you to think about something for me real quick. Why would a total internet stranger care about the quality of education that your children are getting? It's faux outrage. And I'm going to explain to you why and what the real reason behind this is. But I want to make something very clear as well. We're not talking about your grandma, okay? I was raised by the boomer generation. I am almost a Gen Xer. I'm like the very beginning of the millennials. I was raised by boomers, okay? And the boomer generation, for some reason, like, homeschooling is completely foreign to them. And a lot of them are against it because it's so different to them. So like my parents and grandparents, they did not understand it when we decided to homeschool our kids. I'm not talking about them who have like legitimate concerns and just don't understand homeschooling. This is not about them. This is about Joe Schmo on the internet who says, oh, well, homeschoolers aren't very smart. It's those people, okay? It's those people that I'm talking about. The people who are just outraged on the internet about homeschoolers. That's who I'm talking about, okay? We're talking about comment section outrage, which if you homeschool your kids, you're gonna come across all the time. And this is why you shouldn't listen to them. So the three main lies never hold any water. The kids aren't socialized, the parents aren't qualified to teach, and my favorite, the kids are behind academically. Those three issues are a mask for the real issue. And I want to get to the real issue because all three of those arguments are so tired. They're all complete lies. And they show me that this person has done no research on what homeschooling actually is. Those arguments are hilarious. And they're so easily debunked. But we're not here to talk about those three things. What I want to get to is the heart of the matter. Here is the heart of the problem. It's not about academics or socialization or about whether you are fit or unfit to teach your own kids, because none of those issues hold water anyway. What the real issue is a worldview issue. And when you really get to the heart of the matter, because my husband and I have been doing this for years, and we've been doing it even more lately. When you start to engage with these people and have like an actual conversation, like a back and forth conversation, when you get to the heart of the matter, it's always worldview. It always comes down to worldview on the internet. 99.9% of the time, it's worldview. It's not that they misunderstand homeschooling, it's that they don't fully understand what it does. For Christians, homeschooling is discipleship, right? We are discipling our kids. We are bringing them up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And we're doing what we think that the Lord wants us to do, which is homeschool our kids. It's raising children to know and to love the God of the Bible. And that's the problem right there. That's the heart of the matter. That's exactly what they can't stand. And they know that you're doing that because, and here's the big caveat, when they come across a secular family that homeschools, they applaud them. Always. Maybe not always, but a lot of the time, because the assumption always outright is that they are Christians, because homeschooling is typically known as like a thing that Christian families do. But more and more secular families are starting to come into the fold of homeschooling. But for the most part, Christians make up the large majority of homeschoolers, and they know that. So they just automatically assume that you're a Christian family and they attack. The real reason, the number one real reason why they don't like you as a homeschooler is because you're a Christian and because they know there is a God and they hate him. That's really what it is. So this comes down to a Romans 1:18 issue, and I'll tell you what that means. Romans 1:18, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. So it's not that they don't know that there's a God. It's they do know there is a God and they are suppressing it in their own unrighteousness. They know there's a God and they hate him. And they hate that you're teaching your kids those things. That's really what it comes down to. The heart of the issue is always a moral issue, okay? And I say always, but what I mean is the majority of the time. There's very, very, very few people that it's not a worldview problem. Because really, why would some stranger on the internet care that you homeschool your kids? It's not about that. It's never about that. But they mask it with, well, your kids aren't going to be socialized and you're not qualified to teach. That's always the outside mask of the heart of the problem. And see, here is one of the things that is just a clear contradiction that hit me the other day. And it just really kind of shines a light on the hypocrisy of the entire issue. So if they believe, a lot of them believe that schools are neutral, that education is neutral. That is a complete myth. There is no neutrality. I have a video about that as well if you would like to go see it. I think it's actually in the same video. It is a direct contradiction from educators themselves that education is not neutral. Actually, they view education as a political tool. If schools are neutral and they don't influence children, then why would atheists not send their kids to Christian schools? Because they know that those kids would be influenced and indoctrinated by Christian theology, and they don't want their kids to turn out that way. That is why, as Christians, many of us homeschool, because we don't want atheist or secular humanism to infect our kids and have them come out that way. It's the same thing. All education is indoctrination. My husband loves to say this phrase. It's not whether, it's which. Which set of beliefs are going to indoctrinate your kids? Is it yours or is it theirs? If your kid is spending 7 hours a day with a complete stranger who has a completely different worldview than yours, and they come home and they see you for maybe a couple hours a day before they got to do homework or go to sports, dinner, and then go to bed, how much time are you really spending with them and discipling them? Not nearly as much as the public school teachers. And that is not to, try to make fun of or disparage people who have to public school their kids. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying this just as a point of reference here. They're spending a lot more time with your kids, so they have a lot more opportunity to indoctrinate your kids to their worldview. And here is the big thing here. Every piece of information has a worldview because the person writing that information, whether it's in a textbook or whether it is a news article or whether it is a tweet on X. Are they still called tweets? I don't know. They all come from a certain worldview. We all know that the media has a slant. Fox News has a completely different slant than CNN because worldview, right? They have a different point of worldview. All education is like that. All books are like that because the person writing it has their own personal worldview. We all have our own personal worldviews. So all education is going to be indoctrination. It's not whether, it's which. So when someone attacks your decision to homeschool, just remember that there is a heart of the matter, and sometimes you really have to dig to get to the heart of that matter. So if someone that you know and love is opposing your decision to homeschool, get to the heart of the matter and point that out to them. And usually that diffuses the situation if you know the person, and it really helps with those arguments, especially with the holidays coming up and everything. And we have to see people, and this can be a very difficult issue with family. Sometimes if you get to the real heart of the matter, then you can move on from there. I know with my family, the people who came at me the hardest, in my family. Once I presented the evidence of homeschooling, that really helped diffuse it. But if it was a worldview matter, then that was also something that we could discuss openly. Like, well, that is your worldview. This is our worldview. Just as you wouldn't send your kids to a school that teaches a completely different religion, we don't want to send our kids to a school that teaches a different religion. Make sense? And that really helps diffuse the problem in almost every situation with whatever you might be facing. So when critics come at you, I just want you to remember, it's not about math, it's not about reading or test scores or socialization. It's not about any of that. It always comes down to worldview. It's because your homeschool reflects a God that they reject. And that's not your burden to carry, okay? So be encouraged today that you're doing the best thing that you can for your kids, just like they think that they're doing the best thing that they can for their kids. Although I do find my loudest critics are single men. They are not married. They have no children. Strange, right? Very, very strange. My loudest critics are always single men with no families. So weird. Tell me in the comments below, what is the loudest or most common criticism that you seem to get as a homeschool parent if you've been homeschooling for a while? What seems to be the loudest thing that you hear in response to you homeschooling? I would love to know that in the comments. I know what mine are. Tell me yours down below. I get them all day, every day from Instagram. It is wild. I quit Instagram for a while because the notifications just blow up my phone all day, and I was just like, I need a break. So I'm back on Instagram, and sometimes I wonder if that was a good move or not. But again, I'm getting to that age where like, I just don't really care that much. I don't know. So let me know down below. I would love to hear, what are the biggest criticisms to homeschooling that you hear? Usually the 3 that I mentioned are the top 3. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy homeschooling.